You are not who you think you are. Right now, in this very moment, there is something magnificent inside you that has been waiting your entire life to be recognized. It's been there all along, quietly calling to you through your dreams, your desires, your moments of peace, and even through your struggles. This thing inside you is not separate from you. It is you, the real you, the eternal you, the God self that came into this physical form to experience life in all its beauty and complexity. Most people go through their entire lives never recognizing this truth. They identify with their problems, their past, their limitations, their fears. They say things like, I'm just not good enough, or that's not possible for me, or I've always been this way. But these statements are lies. They are not the truth of who you really are. They are simply stories you've been telling yourself, stories that were handed down to you by people who didn't know their own truth either. The truth is this: you came from perfection. Before you were born into this body, before you had a name, before you had a history, you were connected to the infinite source of all creation. Call it God, call it the universe, call it consciousness, call it whatever resonates with you. The name doesn't matter. What matters is understanding that you emerged from this divine source, and that source is still within you right now. It never left. It can never leave. You are a piece of the infinite expressing itself in finite form. Think about it for a moment. There was a time when you did not exist in physical form. Your body was not here. Your personality was not formed. Your problems had not yet been created. But something was here. The essence of what you are was already present in the field of infinite possibilities. And then, through a process so miraculous that science still cannot fully explain it, you came into being. A single cell divided and multiplied, and in a matter of months you became a complete human being with a beating heart, functioning organs, a complex nervous system, and a brain capable of thoughts and emotions. You didn't make any of that happen. Your ego didn't create your body. Your thinking mind didn't organize your cells. Something far greater than your conscious awareness brought you into existence. That something is what I call your God self. It's the intelligence that beats your heart right now without you having to think about it. It's the wisdom that heals your cuts and fights off infections while you sleep. It's the creative force that grows your hair and replaces your cells and keeps you breathing moment by moment. This intelligence that created you is not just in you. It is you. You are not separate from it. You are an expression of it. And here is what changes everything. This same intelligence that created you is still creating through you right now. Every thought you think, every word you speak, every action you take is an opportunity for this divine creative force to express itself in the world. But most of us have forgotten this truth. We've been taught to believe that we are small, limited, separate beings who must struggle and fight and compete for our place in the world. We've been conditioned to think that our worth comes from what we accomplish, what we own, what we achieve in the eyes of others. We've learned to identify with our jobs, our relationships, our possessions, our past mistakes, our future fears, and in doing so, we've covered up the magnificent truth of what we really are. Your ego will fight against this message. It will say, who am I to claim such greatness? Who am I to think I'm connected to God? That's arrogant. That's delusional. I'm just a regular person with problems and bills and responsibilities. But that voice is not the truth. That voice is the false self, the conditioned self, the limited self that has been created by years of programming and fear and doubt. The real you, the God self, knows better. It knows that you are infinite. It knows that you are eternal. It knows that you are capable of anything you can conceive in your mind. It knows that the same power that created galaxies and mountains and oceans is flowing through you right now, waiting to be directed by your conscious intention. So how do you reconnect with this God self? How do you remember who you really are? It starts with a simple shift in awareness. It starts with recognizing that you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are the presence that experiences emotions. You are not your body. You are the consciousness that inhabits this body temporarily. When you sit quietly and simply observe your thoughts without judging them, without identifying with them, you begin to experience the space between your thoughts. In that space there is stillness. In that stillness there is peace. In that peace, there is the recognition of something eternal and unchanging. That is your God self. That is the real you. This God self has no limits. It knows no boundaries. It cannot be diminished by failure or inflated by success. It simply is. And when you connect with this part of yourself, everything in your life begins to change. Problems that seemed insurmountable suddenly become manageable. Fears that once controlled you lose their power. Doubts that held you back dissolve in the light of your true nature. You begin to realize that you are not here by accident. You are here on purpose, for a purpose. You chose to come into this physical form to express your unique gifts, to share your particular light, to contribute something that only you can contribute to this world. Nobody else has your exact combination of talents, experiences, perspectives, and insights. Nobody else can do what you came here to do. But to fulfill this purpose, you must stop living from your small self and start living from your God self. You must stop asking, what can I get, and start asking, what can I give? You must stop seeking approval from others and start trusting the wisdom within you. You must stop waiting for perfect conditions and start acting on your inner guidance right now. Your God self speaks to you constantly, but its voice is quiet and gentle. It doesn't shout or demand. It whispers through your intuition, through your hunches, through the things that excite you and inspire you and make you come alive. When you feel drawn to something, when you feel a sense of expansion and possibility, that's your God self pointing you in the direction of your highest good. But most people ignore these whispers. They override their intuition with logic. They talk themselves out of their dreams with fear. They silence their inner guidance with the opinions of others. They postpone their purpose while they wait for the right time, the right resources, the right circumstances. And in doing so, they live their entire lives disconnected from the very source of their power. The right time is now. The right circumstances are the ones you're in right now. The right resources are already within you. Everything you need to begin living from your God self is available to you in this moment. You don't need to wait for anything or anyone. You don't need permission. You don't need credentials. You don't need to be fixed or healed or improved. You are already whole. You are already complete. You are already divine. What you need to do is remove the blocks you've placed between yourself and your true nature. These blocks are nothing more than false beliefs that you've accepted as truth. Beliefs like, I'm not smart enough, or I'm too old, or I don't have what it takes, or people like me don't succeed. These are not facts. These are stories. And you can change your story anytime you choose. Your God self knows that age is irrelevant when you're connected to the infinite. Your God self knows that intelligence comes in many forms and that you have your own unique wisdom to share. Your God self knows that what it takes to succeed is already built into you because you are part of the creative source of the universe. Your God self knows that there are no people like you because you are absolutely unique and unrepeatable. When you begin to see yourself from this higher perspective, you stop competing with others. You stop comparing yourself to anyone else. You realize that another person's success does not diminish your own possibilities. In fact, when you're living from your God self, you celebrate the success of others because you understand that we are all connected. We are all part of the same source. And when one person rises, all of humanity benefits. This shift in consciousness is not about becoming something you're not. It's about remembering what you've always been. It's about removing the false layers of identity that have been covering your true essence. It's about letting go of who you think you should be and allowing yourself to be who you really are. And who you really are is magnificent beyond measure. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. You are an infinite soul temporarily housed in a finite body. You are a creator with the power to shape your reality through your thoughts, your words, and your actions. You are connected to every living thing, to every star in the sky, to the very fabric of existence itself. When you live from this awareness, you stop being a victim of circumstances. You stop blaming others for your problems. You stop waiting for the world to change before you can be happy. You take full responsibility for your life because you understand that you are the creator of your experience. Not through force or effort, but through alignment with your true nature. Your God self creates through inspiration, not desperation. It moves through attraction, not promotion. It expands through allowing, not forcing. When you're aligned with this part of yourself, you don't have to push and struggle and strain to make things happen. You simply set your intention, you trust the process, and you take inspired action when it feels right to do so. This doesn't mean you won't face challenges. This doesn't mean life will always be easy. Being human means experiencing the full range of emotions and situations. But when you know who you really are, challenges become opportunities for growth. Difficulties become teachers. Obstacles become stepping stones. You see, everything that happens is part of your evolution, part of your expansion, part of your return to remembering your divine nature. The people who have made the greatest impact on this world are those who understood this truth. They knew they were connected to something greater than themselves. They trusted that inner guidance. They followed their calling even when others thought they were crazy. They persisted in the face of rejection and failure because they knew their worth was not determined by external validation. And you have this same capacity within you. You have the same divine spark. You have the same access to infinite intelligence. You have the same ability to create, to inspire, to transform lives. The only difference between you and those you admire is that they believed in their God self and acted on it. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't wait to feel ready. They didn't wait for fear to go away. They simply moved forward with faith, trusting that the path would reveal itself one step at a time. This is what I'm inviting you to do right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel more prepared. Right now. In this moment. Make the decision to reconnect with your God self. Make the decision to stop identifying with your limitations and start identifying with your infinite nature. Make the decision to live from your highest self rather than your smallest self. This decision doesn't require a dramatic external change. You don't have to quit your job or move to another country or abandon your responsibilities. What changes is your internal orientation. What shifts is your perspective. What transforms is your awareness of who you really are and why you're really here. When you make this shift, you'll notice that synchronicities begin to appear in your life. The right people show up at the right time. The resources you need become available. Opportunities open up that you couldn't have planned or predicted. This is not magic. This is not luck. This is simply what happens when you align with the creative flow of the universe. What happens when you stop resisting and start allowing? What happens when you stop doubting and start trusting? Your God self is always guiding you toward your highest good, always. Even when things seem to be falling apart, there is a higher intelligence at work, rearranging circumstances for your benefit. Even when you can't see the purpose, there is meaning in what you're experiencing. Even when you feel lost, you are being led. You just have to trust the process. You just have to have faith that the source that brought you into existence knows exactly what it's doing. This faith is not about believing in something outside yourself. This faith is about trusting what's inside yourself. It's about knowing that you are equipped for everything you're being called to do. It's about recognizing that you wouldn't have the desire if you didn't also have the capacity to fulfill it. Your dreams were not given to you to torture you. They were given to you to guide you. They are your God self showing you the direction of your expansion, but you have to act on them. You have to move in the direction of your dreams, even if you can only take small steps, even if you don't know how it's all going to work out, even if people around you don't understand. Your God self doesn't need everyone's approval. It doesn't require consensus. It only requires your willingness to listen and your courage to act. And yes, it takes courage to live from your God self in a world that constantly tells you to play small, to fit in, to follow the rules, to be realistic. It takes courage to claim your magnificence when you've been taught that humility means diminishing yourself. But true humility is not about making yourself small. True humility is recognizing that the greatness within you is not yours alone. It belongs to the source. You are simply a channel for it. You are simply allowing it to flow through you into the world. When you understand this, you can be confident without being arrogant. You can be powerful without being domineering. You can be successful without stepping on others. Because you know that your success is not at the expense of anyone else. There is enough. There is always enough. The universe is abundant. And you are part of that abundance. Scarcity is a lie that keeps you trapped in fear. Competition is a game that keeps you separated from your true nature. The truth is that you live in an abundant universe with infinite possibilities. The truth is that you are a creator with unlimited potential. The truth is that when you operate from your God self, you create value wherever you go. You lift others up, you inspire, you heal, you transform. This is your birthright. This is what you came here to do. You are not here to simply survive, to get by, to make it through another day. You are here to thrive. You are here to expand. You are here to become more of who you really are. You are here to express the unique qualities that only you possess. You are here to contribute to the evolution of consciousness on this planet. And you do this not by trying to be someone else, not by imitating others, not by following a formula or a system. You do this by being authentically, courageously, unapologetically yourself. Because your true self is divine. Your true self is connected to all that is. Your true self is love expressing itself in physical form. Love is not just an emotion you feel for certain people. Love is what you are. Love is the substance of your being. Love is the creative force that formed you and sustains you and guides you. When you live from love, you live from your God self. When you make decisions based on love rather than fear, you align with the highest intelligence in the universe. When you treat yourself and others with love, you activate the most powerful force in existence. This love is unconditional. It doesn't require anyone to be different than they are. It doesn't demand perfection. It doesn't withdraw when mistakes are made. It simply accepts what is while remaining open to what can be. This is how your God self sees you, with complete acceptance and infinite patience, with total faith in your ability to remember who you really are. You may have spent years, even decades, believing you were something less than divine. You may have accumulated a mountain of evidence that seems to prove you're limited, flawed, unworthy. But all of that evidence is based on identifying with your ego, with your false self, with the temporary aspects of your existence. None of it touches the truth of your eternal nature. Right now you can let all of that go. You can release every belief that doesn't serve your highest good. You can forgive every mistake you've made. You can free yourself from every expectation that's been placed on you. You can stop performing for others and start expressing your authentic self. You can stop seeking validation from the external world and start trusting the wisdom within you. This is not a one-time event. This is a daily practice. This is a moment-by-momentum choice. Every time you catch yourself thinking a limiting thought, you can choose again. Every time you notice yourself acting from fear, you can realign with love. Every time you feel disconnected from your purpose, you can return to the stillness within and reconnect with your God self. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. The more you align with your true nature, the more evidence you accumulate that you are indeed infinite and powerful and divine. Your life becomes proof of what's possible when you live from your highest self. Your experiences become testimonies to the truth that you are here to realize your God self. And as you do this, something wonderful happens. You become a light for others. You become living proof that there's another way to live. You inspire people simply by being yourself. You give others permission to remember their own divine nature. You participate in the awakening of human consciousness, not by preaching or teaching, but simply by being an example of what's possible. This is the ripple effect of knowing who you really are. When you change, the world around you changes. When you rise, you lift others with you. When you remember your God self, you help others remember theirs. This is not about being perfect or having all the answers. This is about being authentic, being vulnerable, being willing to grow and learn and evolve. Your God self is not intimidated by your humanness. It doesn't expect you to transcend your body and never experience negative emotions. It knows that you're here to have the full human experience, to feel all the feelings, to navigate all the challenges. But it also knows that you are more than your circumstances. It knows that you are the conscious awareness observing all of this. And that awareness is eternal and indestructible. So when you're going through difficult times, when you're facing loss or pain or uncertainty, your God self is still there, unchanged and unchangeable. The storms of life may rage around you, but at your center there is a calm presence that cannot be disturbed. This is the eye of the hurricane. This is the peace that passes all understanding. This is your true home. You don't have to wait until everything is perfect to access this peace. You don't have to fix all your problems first. You can go there right now in the middle of whatever chaos you're experiencing. You can close your eyes, take a few conscious breaths, and simply be present with what is. In that presence, you'll find your God self, waiting patiently, loving you unconditionally, reminding you that you are so much more than whatever temporary situation you're facing. From this place of inner peace, you can face anything. From this connection to your source, you can handle any challenge. From this awareness of your true nature, you can create any reality you desire, not through manipulation or control, but through alignment and allowing, not through force, but through flow, not through struggling, but through surrendering to the wisdom that's always guiding you. This surrender is not giving up. This surrender is giving over. It's releasing your grip on how you think things should be and opening to what wants to emerge. It's trusting that there's a plan bigger than your ego's agenda. It's knowing that your God self sees possibilities you can't see from your limited perspective. It's having faith that you're being led to something better than you could have imagined for yourself. When you live this way, life becomes an adventure rather than a burden. You become curious rather than anxious. You approach each day with anticipation rather than dread. You see yourself as a co-creator with the universe rather than a victim of circumstances. You take responsibility for your energy, your attitude, your responses, knowing that these are the tools of creation. Your thoughts are not just random mental activity. Your thoughts are creative. They set the tone for your experience. They shape your perception of reality. They influence your emotions and your actions. When you think from your God self, you think thoughts of abundance, possibility, love, and growth. When you think from your ego, you think thoughts of lack, limitation, fear, and struggle. You get to choose which voice you listen to. You get to choose which perspective you adopt. You get to choose whether you see yourself as small and powerless or infinite and creative. This choice is always available to you. In every moment, you can ask yourself, am I seeing this situation through the eyes of my ego or through the eyes of my God self? That simple question can shift everything. The ego sees separation. The God self sees connection. The ego sees competition. The God self sees collaboration. The ego sees scarcity. The God self sees abundance. The ego sees problems. The God self sees opportunities. The ego seeks to protect. The God self seeks to expand. The ego lives in the past and future. The God self lives in the eternal now. Every time you choose the perspective of your God self, you strengthen that connection. You make it easier to access next time. You train your mind to default to love rather than fear. You create new neural pathways that support your highest good. You literally rewire your brain to align with your true nature. This is the real work. This is the transformation that changes everything. Not changing your external circumstances, though those often shift as a result. Not acquiring more stuff or achieving more status, though those may come along the way. The real transformation is internal. It's the shift from identifying with the limited self to remembering the infinite self. It's the movement from fear to love, It's the recognition that you are and have always been a divine being having a human experience. And once you know this, really know this in the core of your being, you can never go back to the old way of living. You can never again believe the lie that you're small or insignificant or powerless. You can never again accept limitations as the final word on what's possible for you. You can never again give your power away to circumstances or people or past experiences. You become the author of your own story. You become the creator of your own experience. You become the master of your own energy. Not in an egoic way that tries to control everything and everyone around you, but in a divine way that takes full responsibility for your inner state and trusts the universe to handle the details. This is freedom, this is peace, this is joy, this is what you came here to experience and to share. This is realizing your God self, not as some distant goal you'll achieve in the future, but as a present reality you can step into right now, in this very moment, with your very next breath, with your very next thought. You are ready. You have always been ready. Your God self has never doubted you. It has never given up on you. It has never stopped loving you. It has patiently waited through every detour, every mistake, every moment of forgetfulness. And now it's calling you home. Home to the truth of who you are. Home to the remembrance of your divine nature. Home to the realization that you are here for a magnificent purpose that only you can fulfill. This is your moment. This is your invitation. This is your opportunity to say yes to the highest version of yourself. To say yes to living from your God self. To say yes to expressing your unique gifts in the world. To say yes to the adventure of conscious creation. To say yes to being the love that you are. Will you accept? Will you remember? Will you allow yourself to be who you really came here to be? The choice is yours. It has always been yours. Your God self is waiting, not impatiently, but with infinite love and complete faith that you will eventually remember, that you will eventually wake up, that you will eventually realize that you are and have always been divine. There is something I want you to understand about the nature of your existence that might change how you see everything. Right now, as you read these words, billions of processes are happening in your body without any conscious effort from you. Your cells are regenerating, your blood is circulating, your lungs are breathing, your heart is pumping, your digestive system is working, your immune system is protecting you. All of this is happening automatically, guided by an intelligence far superior to anything your conscious mind could manage. Have you ever stopped to consider what this means? It means that the same force that orchestrates the entire universe is operating within you at this very moment. The intelligence that keeps planets in orbit, that causes flowers to bloom in spring, that guides salmon upstream to spawn, that knows how to form a baby from a single cell, this same intelligence is your intelligence. It is not separate from you. It is the core of your being. Most people live their entire lives taking this miracle for granted. They wake up in the morning and immediately start thinking about their problems, their to-do lists, their worries about the future or regrets about the past. They never pause to acknowledge the absolute wonder of their existence. They never stop to appreciate that they are walking miracles, living expressions of the creative power of the cosmos. But when you start to pay attention to this, when you begin to notice the perfection with which your body functions, the precision with which nature operates, the synchronicity of events that bring people and opportunities into your life at exactly the right moment, you start to see the fingerprints of divine intelligence everywhere. You begin to recognize that there is no such thing as randomness or accident. Everything is part of a larger pattern, a grander design that your limited human perspective cannot fully comprehend. Your role in all of this is not to figure everything out. Your role is not to control every outcome. Your role is to align yourself with this intelligence and allow it to work through you. When you do this, you stop forcing and start flowing. You stop pushing and start allowing. You stop stressing and start trusting. And paradoxically, this is when things begin to work out better than you could have planned them yourself. Think about the times in your life when you tried to force something to happen, when you pushed and struggled and exhausted yourself trying to make things go your way. How did that work out? Most likely you created more problems than you solved. Now think about the times when you let go, when you surrendered control, when you trusted that things would work out even though you couldn't see how. What happened? Chances are solutions appeared that you never would have thought of. Doors opened that you didn't even know existed. Help came from unexpected sources. This is the difference between living from ego and living from your God self. The ego wants to be in charge. It wants to control everything because it's afraid. It's afraid of uncertainty. It's afraid of the unknown. It's afraid that if you're not constantly vigilant and working hard and making things happen, everything will fall apart. But this is exhausting. This is no way to live. And it's based on a fundamental misunderstanding of how the universe actually works. The universe is not chaotic. It's not random. It's not indifferent to your well-being. The universe is intelligent, orderly, and benevolent. It wants you to succeed. It wants you to thrive. It wants you to experience joy and abundance and fulfillment. But it cannot give you these things if you're blocking the flow with your resistance, your doubt, your need to control, your belief in limitation. Your God self knows how to attract everything you need. It knows how to create health in your body. It knows how to bring prosperity into your life. It knows how to manifest loving relationships. It knows how to guide you to your perfect work. But you have to get out of your own way. You have to stop interfering with the natural intelligence that's trying to express itself through you. How do you do this? By becoming aware of your thoughts and choosing ones that align with what you want to create rather than what you fear. By speaking words that affirm your connection to Source rather than your separation from it. By taking actions that feel inspired and exciting rather than forced and obligatory. By trusting your intuition even when it doesn't make logical sense. By being willing to look foolish in the eyes of others who don't understand what you're doing. The path of realizing your God self is not always going to be understood by people around you. They may think you're being impractical or unrealistic. They may try to talk you out of your dreams. They may project their own fears and limitations onto you. This is normal. They are simply reflecting back to you the beliefs they hold about themselves. They are not seeing your potential because they haven't yet recognized their own. Your job is not to convince them. Your job is not to make them understand. Your job is to stay true to what you know is right for you, to honor the calling you feel inside, to follow the path that lights you up, even if no one else can see where it's leading. Because ultimately, you're not living your life for anyone else. You're living it for the expression of your unique divine essence. And here's something beautiful that happens when you commit to this path. As you begin to live more authentically, as you start to express your God self more fully, you naturally attract people who resonate with this energy. You find your tribe. You meet others who are on a similar path. You create relationships based on mutual support and growth rather than codependency and need. You stop trying to fit in with people who don't appreciate you and start connecting with those who celebrate. This is not about being selfish or self-centered. This is about being self-aware. It's about recognizing that you can't give from an empty cup. You can't help others if you're not first connected to your own source. You can't be a light for the world if you're living in darkness. The most generous, loving, helpful thing you can do for humanity is to become fully yourself, to realize your God self, to express the unique gifts that only you possess. When you do this, you contribute to the collective awakening of consciousness on this planet. You add your frequency to the rising vibration of humanity. You become part of the solution rather than part of the problem. You help create a world where more people remember their divine nature, where more people live from love instead of fear, where more people express their creativity and joy and authentic power. This is not some distant future possibility. This is happening right now. You are part of a global shift in consciousness. You are living through a time when more and more people are waking up to the truth of who they really are. You are witnessing the collapse of old structures and systems that no longer serve humanity's highest good. You are participating in the birth of a new way of being on this earth. And your contribution matters. You matter. What you do with your life matters. The thoughts you think matter. The words you speak matter. The love you share matters. The example you set matters. You are not insignificant. You are not powerless. You are an essential piece of the cosmic puzzle. Without you, something would be missing. Without your unique expression, the tapestry of creation would be incomplete. So stop playing small. Stop hiding your light. Stop pretending you're less than you are. Stop waiting for permission to be magnificent. Stop apologizing for your gifts. Stop dimming your brightness to make others comfortable. It's time to step fully into your God self. It's time to claim your divine inheritance. It's time to live the life you were born to live. This doesn't mean you have to be loud or flashy or constantly calling attention to yourself. Some of the most powerful expressions of divine consciousness are quiet, humble, and subtle. What matters is not the external form your expression takes, but the internal knowing that guides it. What matters is that you're being true to yourself, that you're following your own inner compass, that you're making choices based on alignment with your highest self rather than conformity to external expectations. Every single day you have countless opportunities to choose your God self over your ego, in how you respond to challenges, in how you treat yourself and others, in what you focus your attention on, in what you believe is possible, in how you spend your time and energy. Each choice either strengthens your connection to Source or reinforces your sense of separation. Each choice either expands your consciousness or contracts it. The beautiful thing is that you always get to choose again. You're never stuck with a previous choice. If you catch yourself thinking negative thoughts, you can choose again. If you notice yourself acting from fear, you can choose again. If you realize you're living someone else's life instead of your own, you can choose again. Right now, in this moment, it's all it takes. One conscious choice to align with your God self instead of your limited self, consistent with God. And as you practice this, as you make this choice more and more consistently, something shifts. Your life begins to reflect the truth of your divine nature. Opportunities appear, resources show up, relationships deepen, health improves, abundance flows, joy becomes your natural state. Not because you're trying to force these things to happen, but because you're finally allowing the natural state of your being to express itself without obstruction. This is what you were born for. This is why you're here. Not to struggle through life feeling unfulfilled and disconnected, not to settle for mediocrity when magnificence is your birthright, not to live in fear when love is your essence. You're here to realize your God self and to live from that realization. You're here to be the fullest expression of divine consciousness in human form. You're here to create, to love, to grow, to contribute, to experience all the beauty and wonder that life has to offer. So begin right now. Take one step toward your God self. Choose one thought that aligns with your infinite nature. Speak one word that affirms your divine connection. Take one action that expresses your authentic self. And then tomorrow, do it again. And the next day, do it again. Keep choosing, keep aligning, keep expressing, keep remembering who you really are. Your God self is here. It has always been here. It will always be here. Nothing can destroy it. Nothing can diminish it. Nothing can separate you from it. It is the eternal truth of your being, waiting patiently for you to remember, to recognize, to realize. And in that realization, you find everything you've ever been searching for. You find peace. You find purpose. You find power. You find home.